All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for the second episode of Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. This is for The Hurt That Will Happen. Alright, and spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen this episode yet, you definitely want to watch it before you watch this review. So, The Hurt That Will Happen. So, I've gone into the season of Fear the Walking Dead with somewhat lower expectations. Mainly because, first of all, the second half of Season 4 was not that great. The villain at the end she was okay. It wasn't that good. But I heavily enjoyed the first half of Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, and I'm happy to say that after 2 episodes of Season 5, I am heavily enjoying Fear the Walking Dead right now. As I said before this season started, I feel like Fear the Walking Dead has moved up the ladder without doing anything. It just by being there, just by having new episodes, it's moved up and continuing to do what it's doing. I think it's moved up without having to do anything, because the original Walking Dead has taken such a hit in the last year with losing some of its most popular characters, and it's going to have another one next year, and of course it's going to be really difficult for them to keep going on this current kind of path that they're on, but they've done an amazing job of it, even though they've lost, spoiler warning, Rick and Maggie might come back, but she hasn't been there most of Season 9, and of course Michonne's going to be leaving Season 10, and then we have character deaths on top of that. So the original roster for The Walking Dead is feeling very small at this time. This season so far of Fear, I think, has felt great to watch these first 2 episodes through, in that the roster feels extremely full. It doesn't feel like a roster of brand new characters or characters that we don't know or that we don't care about. It feels like completely the opposite. And this episode right here I thought was, even better than the premiere episode. Unpopular opinion. I'm enjoying Fear the Walking Dead as much right now, or maybe more, than some of the original episodes of The Walking Dead. I feel like this episode right here is just as good as a regular Walking Dead episode, if not even better than most of the Walking Dead episodes, except for, the big episodes where you have, like, Daryl versus Beta, or, stuff like this happening. I thought it was awesome. I mean, not only do we get to see Daniel return, but it's some great stuff. You got Skidmark, who is his cat who licks his own ass, as Dan says. Got to insert some pessimism there with, having this cute cat, right? It's kind of funny. And there's some good comedy mixed in there. There's also mentions of Madison, and basically Strand gets to tell Daniel in this one that Madison is dead, and so is Nick, and it's really cool to give him that update, because then we get to kind of see from his perspective that he would think that Madison would still be alive, and we would think that too. We would think that she would have found a way to survive too, because he got to see some of the stuff she could do earlier on, and he saw her as very strong, and I get the sense that he liked Nick in sort of a way. Daniel kind of has an interesting personality, right, in that he's like an interrogator and stuff like this, so he's asking Strand questions. He gets the upper hand on him right away with Skidmark and everything, and shoots off the one zombie in the background. It's an awesome piece of, just dialogue between him and Strand in this episode. I enjoyed seeing it so much because, it's been a while since we've seen Daniel, and, a lot of people will probably think we might not see him ever again. With Fear, you never know, right? You never know with some of these characters if they leave, if you're going to get to see them again. I wonder if this is the last time we'll see Daniel in Fear the Walking Dead. I hope it isn't, though, because he's a really fun character, and I like that he's got kind of the cat now, too, which keeps him company, which is fun, because he's kind of off by himself alone, right? So just kind of closed off to the world, but he's got his pet Skidmark. So I love that, and I thought that was really fun, really great stuff, and I loved all the stuff in this episode through with Strand going to appeal to Dan and try to get him to help him with with going to rescue the others, using his radio and everything, and Daniel kind of going back and forth on it. And then maybe a little twist at the end with him actually deciding that, no, I'm not going to go there with you. I'm not going to do it. Last time he helped Strand, the dam exploded and he ended up getting shot in the face. Right? So, really good stuff. You can definitely see from Dan's perspective that he would just basically say no, even though there is Alycia there and some of the others. He's pretty much like, screw you, Strand. At this point, he did get shot in the face as a result, and that's not an easy thing to overcome with somebody. And I think we all have friends like this that, are kind of some shady characters, and then later on in life, maybe they call you up and they want to hang out or something, and you're kind of like, I don't know, right? I don't know, okay, you need help, yeah, but you always need help. You're always asking for help, and at the same time, we don't, not necessarily sure if we can trust you. In fact, probably can't. But his haircut does look a little bit different, right? And his, good stuff with that. And Strand, I do get the sense that Strand has changed genuinely, especially after Madison, what happened with that. I do think that he is genuinely different than he was before, and I think his relationship with Madison over time, his friendship with her, helped kind of make him a better person than he probably otherwise would have ended up being. Even if Daniel somewhat sees that, he's still not willing to kind of help, and I don't know. We'll have to see for the future whether or not we get to see him again. And that was really cool to see him return. Rubenblade's return as Dan in this episode was really awesome. So in addition to that, I mean, we got a lot of stuff happening in this episode. We have that happening. We have the stuff with basically the group looking for Althea, which splits off into two, with the main focus, I want to say, of the episode and the title, The Hurt That Will Happen, coming from Morgan and Alycia. And we get to see some awesome zombie kills from Alycia in this one, but they're also worried at the same time because it's kind of revealed in this one that the radiation is also true, that there are some walkers that have been infected by radiation, and we have this new female character did say that her name was Grace on the thing. I'll have to double check afterwards, but she's going around and she's trying to clean up the mess, basically, of one of the meltdowns, and you have certain people that are going around that are all bubbled up and stuff with a new type of zombie, which was pretty cool because at first a lot of us were hesitant because we were like, oh, it sounds a lot like Z Nation, but getting to see it through, it didn't feel anything like that because even though you have kind of some comedy in Fear the Walking Dead now, I feel like it's really well balanced. There's a little bit of light comedy in there, light in a dark place, right? A little bit of that comedy in there, right, which was good. Like you got to see it with Daniel in this one, but not overbearing, not too much comedy to where it makes it all ridiculously silly and not serious enough. So it's kind of Fear the Walking Dead's take on this, and they mix in a little bit, but it's not too much. And at the same time, you have the action, you have the serious tones, which were really cool. So you have kind of the radioactive stuff going on, but then you have Luciana, who's almost passing out, and she barely escapes the little amount of zombies that's coming through because she has almost no strength, and she's kind of passing out, and she just gets in the door and passes out. Then they come back to find after that all the zombies that were outside have had all their heads cut off and have been posted like way up on this, freaking thing. So how the hell did they get up there, right? So somebody's kind of coming around and doing this stuff. So you mix in the fear of Fear the Walking Dead with kind of a little bit of light and a little bit of comedy at the same time, and and mixing in all the different characters that we have here, and it makes for, I think, a very entertaining episode or episodes, and a really great feel right now for Fear and kind of what they're doing, surpassing my expectations of what I usually look to see for Fear. So, favorite group of this one, I like to see Dan a lot, but I probably Alycia and Morgan losing his stick, right? So he loses his staff, which is also kind of fun. So you really got to take my stick too. So it's funny. I like it. And then you have Alycia, who's always fun to see, right? She's one of the best characters in The Walking Dead for sure. In this one, she gets some sweet kills. There's one where, like, these two that are coming after her, and she hits them with both, right, through the heads into the side, and double kill, right, which is it's awesome. So to see through. And then there's one where she clotheslines the lady, right? If her name's Grace or whatever, she does a left arm clothesline, like WWE style, which is really fun. So right, part of the episode where the lady has Morgan at gunpoint, she tells him to take off all his clothes, which comes across in a weird, again, mixing a little bit of comedy but seriousness too, kind of a weird way of like, it's like, okay, there's radiation, we kind of get the idea. She's probably being serious, but you can see from Morgan's perspective that can come across as a very peculiar request to be held at gunpoint and tell someone to take off all their clothes. And then Alycia kind of somewhat saves him. We find out afterwards that the lady is a good person and everything, and she's not she's not, a villain or anything, or she's not going to kill him. But we don't know what's going on necessarily either, because Althea's missing, and so you have all these different things happening, and they're out of their environment anyway. They're in a different location, which is a dangerous spot. There's zombie heads all over the place, so you don't necessarily know 100% what's happening. And it's just funny to see Alycia come through and clothesline the lady and take her down, right? So that's fun. And I feel like in this episode, it's pretty much, it surprised me that you have Morgan and Alycia right there. And Morgan is an OG character from the very first season of The Walking Dead. But then you also have Alycia, too, who's the first season character, last remaining survivor of the original group from Fear the Walking Dead. And, I was wondering, who's going to pull ahead as kind of the number one lead of the show. And even though it's an ensemble type of show, and we get to see that heavily in this episode with Strand and Daniel and everybody else getting their time, too, even the newcomers, June and John, getting their time as well. I was kind of wondering who's going to pull ahead for kind of the lead for Fear. And I thought it'd probably be Morgan. That'd be Morgan and Friends, because Morgan's going to take over. If it is, then Alicia's Firestar, right? Spider-Man is amazing. Anyway, you had to watch it, right, in the 60s or whatever. What was it when they did Spider-Man is Amazing Friends, right? Iceman and Firestar. I don't know why they would put it with Spider. Anyway, go on a Marvel rant here. But basically, it's great stuff, and I feel like in this episode, I kind of feel like Alicia's kind of pulling ahead a bit as, the number one character for Fear. And I thought it would be Morgan. I thought Morgan would be the one, but it kind of feels like she's kind of pulling ahead, and he's sort of support for her and being supportive of her in her, wanting to go around and just take out all her anger and frustrations that we totally understand, because, of course, the mentions of Madison and everything, and Nick and her family's dead. So Morgan kind of, being a person there to kind of counsel her or kind of help her kind of deal through with the things, because he lost everything as well, too, earlier. And so he's kind of an elder, wiser type of person for her there to kind of help her through some of this stuff. So let me know what you guys think about that one and who you feel like is pulling ahead for you as kind of the lead character for Fear. I feel like Alicia's kind of getting there, kind of going further, and also because the original Walking Dead series has lost some of those old, like Maggie, for example, strong women. Michonne's going to be leaving too. For Fear, it kind of brings her up further and makes her even more important. And like I said, even if Fear eventually gets kind of canceled, we know they're not doing Talking Dead after each episode of Fear now, and they're doing the premiere stuff, which is good. They're releasing it early so people can watch it on Premiere, if you have Premiere, that is. If not, I'll just do the regular reviews on Sunday nights with you guys as we usually do, at least for now, unless something changes. So hopefully Fear can continue, because I'm just enjoying it so much right now. I hope it does, right? With how things are kind of going. But I would never be surprised if they brought, again, if Fear had to end, if they brought her into the original Walking Dead with Morgan and some of the others, because the roster in there has kind of come down too. So they got some good options to having the Fear group that they can do stuff with. And Althea, of course, in the video we did earlier today, she's missing. We don't know where she is. And I would not be at all surprised if they either don't find her or she ends up in the Rick movies and we see her there, which could be cool as well, too, and another kind of crossover character from Fear into the movies to kind of make the Walking Dead universe feel all closer together, in that she was likely taken by the Commonwealth soldiers, whether they be drones or whether they just be real people under those crazy, I don't know how you can see through those masks. If you missed the video earlier today, watch it. You'll get to see what I'm talking about, because basically you can see the Commonwealth Borromene rings on the uniforms of the black of the people that took Althea. One of them was a zombie already, but it's possible he could have been alive and then impaled and then died as a result of the impalement, so it's just a Commonwealth soldier. Or maybe the theory is correct about kind of the drones and kind of having circuitry in the suits and kind of having experiments done in the dead to have them go around and tase people or whatever. So we'll see what happens with Althea later on. Small world, Daniel says, part through there, right, that he knows Althea and the journalist, and it's fun. And, of course, the others are also, kind of coming together. So I like that. And then it's a mention of how, the odds of them meeting each other are not good. But, there's only so many people still alive right now. And the Fear group is traveling around a lot of different places. So it does make sense they could run into Commonwealth or Dan or whoever, right? So good stuff. And they kind of led up to that last season with her tapes and kind of the DS, was it that it said? I think so, right? So great stuff. The title of the episode, so the conversation between Alycia and Morgan. So killing is the only thing I can do, right? The way out, and then the hurt that will happen. So he mentions to her that, of course, there is pain in the game, right? When you open yourself up to other people, when you open yourself up to possibility, there's going to be pain in the game. Later on, in life, for example, people pass on, things happen, especially when you get older and that, right, too. If you're closed off, you're kind of introverted in that way, and you're not warm to others, and you don't develop relationships with other people, then you're kind of closing yourself off. You don't have to hurt as a result of what happens. But if you want to have meaningful relationships, if you want to interact with others and have a good time in the time that you do have, then you have to also open yourself up to hurt that will eventually happen as you lose those people and as things happen throughout life. Awesome episode. The other character who's going around kind of cleaning up, she's pretty cool too. June and John, good stuff with them throughout. Not too much to mention there, only that, I hope they were going to find the kids. I think eventually they will, but they haven't kind of found them yet. And of course, you got the heads everywhere and some cool environment set pieces in that. So I think that's going to be good for my review of the episode, the second episode, The Hurt That Will Happen. I loved it. I thought it was even better than the first episode. I liked the way they used kind of the radioactive zombies, where it was sort of just part of a bigger, puzzle that they're kind of putting together here for us. And for the characters, great stuff for Alycia. Again, right? Again, just taking that character and going further and further and further with her, and then Morgan as well too. Also, an interesting part where Morgan's lost his staff now, and he sees himself in the door as you have all these walkers kind of coming towards, and it kind of pauses there for a minute. I hope they don't kill Morgan off, man. I guess, Morgan is so good, but if I had to choose between Morgan and Alycia, I don't know. I don't know who I would go with between the two. Maybe for the future you do go with Alycia to survive. I don't know. I hope they both do, but we'll see what happens in the future for Fear the Walking Dead. Anyway, I love the episode. Very surprised they're not doing Talking Dead every week after. They probably should. But hey, you know what? It's based on demand, and not many people are watching Fear compared to the original series. A couple million U.S. viewers per episode, but there probably should be more viewers because it is really great. And like I said, for me, just as enjoyable or just as good as the original Walking Dead series. I mean, in terms of the characters they have, Daniel, and the roster feels very full in Fear right now. And if anything, the original Walking Dead series feels a little bit light in terms of their roster. They got to build new characters up. If you like this, for a score, I'm going to give it a 9.7 out of 10. I think it's really close to perfect, better than the first episode, and like I said, better than a lot of episodes of the original Walking Dead. So that's my score for the week. So let me know what you guys thought. Leave your comments below. How are you enjoying Fear right now? Or are you totally like Trev, you're crazy, your opinion is stupid, you're dumb? I'm totally on the opposite side. Let me know what you think. If you liked it, thumb it up, share, favorite, and subscribe bottom left if you're new. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video for Fear. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.